Welcome to Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen. I'm Chef Alli, and I've been stirring up a love of farm fresh cooking all across my home state of Kansas for over a decade. I enjoy teaching you about food, cooking, and family farms. And from farm to fork, Kansas farmers are always working hard so we can enjoy delicious Kansas-raised food.
Welcome to Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen, and Farm Fresh it is today, Alli.
Yeah.
We got a lot of ingredients from the farm.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to make something that typically we think of sausage as a pork product, but you know, you can make homemade sausage from beef. And so I brought some of my ground beef from home because we raise cattle and like to process our own beef. So I brought some nice beef, and to that I added several different spices, typically what's in sausage, which would be sage, red pepper flakes, a little bit of oregano, some onion powder, and of course some garlic. And we just browned that off, and then I took a little bit of that fat out of the pan, and I'm going to start my flame back again. And one thing we want to remember anytime we're cooking in a skillet, and I know I've told you this before, but we always want to preheat our skillet because why? We want sizzle, not fizzle. So anytime we put anything into a skillet, we want to make for sure that it's preheated. So when my ground beef, or my sausage rather, my beef sausage, hit that pan, we heard sizzle,
yes,
because that creates browning, which is caramelization, which is just added flavor. So it really doesn't matter what you're putting in there. If it's onions, if it's ground beef, whatever it is, we want to have that preheated skillet. So that's the first thing that will always elevate your cooking and set it apart from anybody else's, because if you do that extra step, you've got more flavor.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is I brought some of my farm fresh eggs from my neighbor Linda, and if you want to just give that a little bit of a whip there, there's a dozen eggs. This is a pound of beef sausage.
So a pound of beef and a dozen eggs.
And a dozen eggs.
This is a big hearty breakfast.
Big skillet. And I know you're like me, since we have a family, we love dishes that we can put everything into one pan,
yes,
so there's less dishes to do. And so what we'll do at this point, I'm going to take your whisk out of there. We're just going to put our beef kind of to the side of the skillet for now.
Okay.
And actually, before we do that, we're actually going to add our hash browns, so you can dump those in if you want to. Hear that?
Yes.
There's our sizzle.
Sizzle, not fizzle.
Sizzle, not fizzle. There we go. And then if you want to cut up the scallions right there, I brought the shears for you.
Over the pan?
You can, if you want to. Just as big or as small as kind of what you like. And it's handy. We always start at the green end and work towards the white, because the root at the white part is what holds it all together. So you can put as few or as many in there as you want. You're doing a great job with your kitchen shears. You can do a couple more chops. And I'm going to go ahead and add some red bell pepper to that, which is a sweet bell pepper. And then we're just going to kind of give this a little bit of a stir.
It's so colorful already. I love that.
Yeah, isn't it pretty?
Yes.
Because what we're trying to do right here is just kind of get some browning on our potatoes. So we don't want to play with this too much. And also to kind of soften up our red bell peppers and our scallions just a little bit. You might have to add just a little bit of broth or oil, because see those particles that are stuck to the bottom of our pan? That's called fond. We want to always get that up off the bottom and into whatever we're cooking, because again, that's going to add more flavor.
Okay.
All right, so now our eggs, just for the sake of TV, we would probably cook that just a little bit longer if we were at home and get that nice and brown.
A little more brown.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and let you add the eggs.
Okay.
And again, that's a dozen eggs. It was 2 cups of hash browns and 1 red bell pepper, a few scallions. And so you can see that we're just going to cook this until our eggs are fully cooked. Everything's incorporated in here.
Just mix it all together.
Mix it all
nice
together.
And easy. Can you tilt it a little to show
I
the
can. Can you see that in there? Yeah. So see all the pretty colors? So it's a great skillet. It's a great way. You know, we always love to get our family together, and the best calling card is always going to be food. And so I love to start my family off with a farm fresh breakfast with protein.
And that's the best. That's the best way to start a morning, is when mom's already up and the house smells good, and you wake up and you think, yeah, I'm ready to get up and go to the table.
Exactly. I love that.
Yes.
And so it's always important to do that for our kids. A little bit of salt, pepper. Of course, pepper's a spice, so we want to grind that fresh. So we're going to add that. And then just a little bit of salt to that. And then after this is fully cooked, and you can see as I stir this, that is starting to get cooked on the bottom. This will take just a few minutes. But after that's fully cooked, we have our sharp cheddar cheese. And one of the neat things about buying cheese that's a little more flavorful, like your sharps, is you can use less of it but still get that wonderful flavor. Because there's quite a bit of fat in cheese, and actually that's the #1 way that people get too much fat in their diet is by eating too much cheese.
Oh, really?
So buy the stronger ones, and then you can use just a little bit less.
That's a good tip.
So that is our beefy breakfast skillet.
That's nice and easy.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's good. It smells good. Okay, so we're gonna finish cooking this up. Now I have to ask you a side note. That's a neat little device. Where did you get this?
I just got this actually at a kitchen store over in Kansas City called Pride's. Fun place to go. But we want to remember that pepper is a spice, and so it's always best if we can grind that fresh. And I prefer to use kosher salt, which is usually I've got a little salt pig on my counter. A 3-finger pinch is about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And so it's kind of nice when you get to know what your hand holds or what your fingers hold, because then you don't have to get out your measuring spoons all the time, and it just saves time.
And then you feel like a chef.
You feel like a chef, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
very nice. So we're going to get this recipe online so folks can make this at home.
It's on my blog as well, chefallisfarmfreshkitchen.com, so go both places to get that recipe.
Wonderful. All right, Alli, thank you.
You're totally welcome.
All right, we're going to be in Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen another time later this month. We'll have more Moms Every Day after this.
We're the Kansas Farm Food Connection, Kansas farmers and ranchers who are proud to put wholesome and nutritious food on your table. It's our mission to connect farms to families and families to farms through education and firsthand experience. Together, we're raising Kansas.